Okay. Well, for people who are joining this live stream, this is a design review of features of Wolfram Alpha related to food. So, the nutrition compass. Why did we change the? Do we have people from design on this call, by the way?
Don't think so.
Are we talking about design?
Partially, but they have seen most of it, I think.
Okay. So what's the before and after here? So this is...
You must... Do you see?
Can you see what?
Yeah. So based on our previous meetings that we've had, we changed some things to put in the scale. The scale is probably the most notable change from before and after. As you can see there,
Just a minute. I like the scale. Now, how is it indicating? I don't understand. 20% FDA. Which one is, I don't understand. Why is not, I don't understand. Why doesn't that just say 0%, 10%, 20%, and then FDA DV at the end there, if that's what those are? And then it doesn't even need to say actual. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can get rid of that then. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the percent probably should be on there.
I thought you had intentionally done it, Andrew, to save a little bit space and not have the labels as short as possible.
Yes, but I think it takes up more space if we have that legend there. So yeah, probably getting rid of the legend would be preferable.
Yeah, I think you should get rid of the legend and say 0%, 10%, 20%, and then after the 20%, say FDA DV.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, that's nice. Looks nice, actually. What's that? That does not look like a beautiful...
It will look better when it's actually in regular Wolfram language. Right now, because it's in development, it has that.
Okay, no problem.
That formatting. So
okay, other numbers of nutrients. Okay, so we go pentagon, we go whatever, we go, you know.
Basically, this is just to get an idea of where the angles are. Most of them were design specified, and so I just wanted to show you what they look like. Again, we'll put in the percents and that sort of thing too.
Then it can become quite crowded there with the percent. And
yeah,
just a percentage sign isn't going to hurt it probably. I mean, if you really...
Okay.
We could also move it to the bottom only in cases like that, and then it might look a little better. Like the triangle case, for example, if you see that could be a little easier to read.
Yes. Well, then you have to rearrange the things so they're always a flat bottom piece.
That could be done.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, again, you could run that one across that. I mean, you just have to make a decision on which of the sides to bring it out of.
I mean, somewhere in the right lower, I would say, not kind of randomly where there's...
Oh, I agree.
Okay, good. Should make sure.
I agree. Yeah, this is incomprehensible because it doesn't, it's not clear what the gray, there's a lot of gray lines there. Okay. Three buttons. What is this?
So we had discussed some zooming feature to be able to zoom in and zoom out in order to see small numbers more clearly. Like, for example, this one here, the maximum is a little less than 30%, but it might be nice to see what 100% looks like, for example. And so design suggested that we put something in like that, but I don't think that's really a good plan because we had previously talked about putting in a more button to be able to add more
What
nutrients.
would the zooming feature do?
It would change the scale so that it would effectively
it's
zoom
worth
out. Don't think it's worth it?
I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, sure. Then, yeah, we don't have to worry about 3 buttons then.
So as you can see, the suggestion is that we have 3 groups here: basic nutrients, vitamins, and minerals.
And actually, we could put in another one for fats and carbs together. But the only reason why they have to be together is because there's not enough for them, because we can only make the triangle shape really.
Yeah, I understand. That seems fine to me. Basic nutrients, fats and carbs, vitamins, minerals. Seems.
But then the user cannot make their own plot anymore.
What do you mean? What kind of their own plot?
For instance, they cannot choose show me fat, protein, and vitamin C.
Wait.
No. They can through entity value. This is alpha output only.
I mean, alpha is one shot kind of. You don't get all the convenience to program what you want.
Okay.
And I think we can work out an open code button or something like that to be able to show that in better
That'd be
detail.
nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I mean, you could even have an interactive thing. Why not? You could have an interactive component that will be relevant for
On the cloud side.
No, I mean an interactive element. Yes, in what will be the future cloud Wolfram Alpha interface,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Okay, physical activity pod. Good. I'm glad you had some ridiculous level of precision, right?
Yes, it's true. We've
Is this right that it takes 7 hours of sleep to sleep off a Big Mac?
according to the data that we have in physical activity.
We discussed some of the numbers just today.
Yeah, we actually fixed a bug with the fat one. The fat one was in terms of pounds, and so the numbers were a little off. And now it's been fixed. So that what you're seeing there is indeed correct.
I was proposing 50% joking. We should add a Wolfram Language programming as activity.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the data for that is not much different than the sitting one, I believe. So
It depends. That's the point. It depends on the mental. How much does a brain dissipate? 50 watts or something?
Yeah. But it dissipates it anyway, whatever it does.
I wonder if that's really true.
I was wondering too, but I couldn't find any good data.
That would be funny, though. I mean, clearly people who have PET scanners and things, right? And they're detecting some additional glucose. They're detecting where the brain is metabolizing glucose. Yeah. I just don't know whether the aggregate is significant on the overall scale. I have no opinion about this. Is this sorted by order of how long? Is this a fixed sequence, or is this sorted by?
No, it's sorted by time. It goes from shortest to longest.
Okay.
Shortest at the top, longest at the bottom. And in the cases of ranges, I sort them by the mean of the two endpoints.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Again, we're going to be hooking this up so that it'll work for other quantities, and the little footnote at the bottom will say what it's for. One feature that Michael suggested was removing an entire column if they're all less than threshold, which currently is 1 minute. I think that may be useful, and the way we're doing
less. What will we do that? What will we say if we remove them all?
Just the whole column. So that way, the calories one would probably still show stuff, but the fat one would maybe not.
I wouldn't do that. I don't see what's the problem. I mean, because basically, it's just saying it's a nominal amount.
Right. We can also keep it. I'm not.
I would say to keep it, because otherwise people will be confused. Oh, is that is it going to take me forever to burn off the fat for that?
Yeah, that's a good point. So for now, with the bar charts, I know one of the complaints that you had before was that the bars were too thick, and so to make it thinner,
the design fine right now.
Yes. Right, and I just need to do some more tweaks on how this is done to make it look this way. They didn't like that I was using aspect ratio to control it. It depends on the number of bars, so
Yeah, that's not good enough. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm working on.
I would think in the. Yeah, it's okay. Percent data value. I was thinking you might want to put the percentage signs on there, but I guess not. It's not necessary. This is fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, the input interpretation, I haven't had that much time to look at it too much. Last time, I think we more or less agreed on the lowest level boxes, which I believe have been implemented here, should be most of the upper ones in this example's grid. But
the word item, why is it in the smaller font? Is that just a bug?
I think that's just the default there, but we can make it the same size.
Well, I don't know what it just looks odd.
Again, some of the formatting may not be.
It's kind of the units. It's a counting unit, like grams. That's what it gets in another.
No, I understand. But does it really? Why is it smaller than these? I mean, there's something odd and the spacing is wrong there and so on.
So right now, these are from my local implementation of it. This has not been.
I think it will look better on the server, actually.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. I think once it's actually fully integrated in properly, it will look much better. This is just kind of a sandbox, so to speak.
I don't think that gutter is useful to us. I think it just looks kind of weird.
Okay.
I think there is a certain argument to put a small amount of gray behind these things, or to somehow distinguish them from the right-hand side. Are they slightly in gray?
Yes, they should. No, I don't think we agreed to do that on those. Sorry, I got confused with the property case, which is below.
I think we should do them slightly gray, because I think that they're annotations. I mean, you could just read chicken fried leg without reading that it's a preparation fried.
Sure.
So I would go slightly gray, maybe just 20% gray, something like that.
Sure, we can look into that. Yeah.
So sorry, I wasn't quite sure when you say the color is not needed, but only in this case where we have the big gray one on the left, or in all cases?
No, I'm saying that these ones don't have a gutter. I mean, this is the gutter I'm talking about. It's inside that.
Okay.
So just to make sure that I understand properly, the area that says amount, the area that says food type, preparation, and food part, those would have a slightly gray background?
No, that was my first thought, but I think that's wrong. I think the correct thing is that the words would be slightly grayed.
I think they are, but if you want them more gray, we can make them more gray.
Maybe 10% more gray.
Sure.
Okay, this heavy bar is not something we've done in other places. It reminds me awfully of a nutrition label. I think it's okay. Everybody else okay with it?
I think so, because it's conceptually different.
Yeah, right, okay. I mean, we could do that by indicating it with some color background or something. I think this is probably okay. All right. Okay, what's this case here? Ag. Okay, that's why you need those gutters.
Yes, or at least in this case, we would probably need the gutters. So this is the list case of all of them. Again, for these groupings of things, we did not really come up with a good solution for a lot of it. Mostly, we just wanted to take a look at it again and see if
you know what? I think you can just get rid of those separator lines. You just have 3 floating boxes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure whether they need a plus sign between them.
But it's different.
Yeah, the addition case is different.
Oh, I see. What is this case? Is this case?
That's a comparison or a list of them.
Oh, what does a list do?
Well, comparison. It's the same thing.
What do we do with other comparisons?
Normally, they're not so big, and we use vertical bars and friends.
I see. Why don't we do that here? Unless
they could be awfully big. I think the concern was last time if you did, for example,
But why do we want to stack them all vertically? I mean, why not use some of the horizontal space as well?
I think we were worried about how much vertical, or rather horizontal space they would take up. But I don't mind doing that. The issue is, well, I guess there isn't too much of an issue to that except for it being very long. So we could, I think usually what's done is a row where the separator is a vertical bar. So we
That's
could
what I would try here. I mean, but what are you worried about? That they get too, triple decker, quadruple decker, whatever.
Yeah, and also it may not format the best in the world because of the wrapping, but maybe it's not so bad.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure which wrapping. I mean, this is the wrapping of these macro blocks, basically.
Yes. Imagine if each of those rocks of those boxes was in row with the separator being just a vertical bar.
Yeah.
Then yeah, it'd probably work okay in this case. But if
no, I understand. I think the vertical bar separators is going to look silly.
Okay. I think that's the default behavior for most other.
No, I understand. One of the questions is whether the separator bar is a spanning character or not.
And I'm not sure.
And usually it isn't. Usually it's a fixed height. But here, maybe it'd be better if it was a spanning character. I'm not sure. Maybe that would look stupid too. Or maybe we should have commas of some kind. Or maybe nothing as the separator. I think you need to show some of the bad cases.
Sure.
Multi-decker, many things, wrapping poorly.
Or we use a small little gray versus VS.
That's fine if that's what it's going to be. I don't think that's bad.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that one.
A VS period.
Oh, VS. Yeah, I think I showed that before, and I don't think anyone was really happy about that.
But
Well,
it has the advantage that the discussion, if it spans, doesn't even come up.
If what?
Nobody would expect it to span, so we don't have one of the problems we might.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think we've got to see some cases, but I think the VS thing will be okay. Why is this always stacking vertically?
Again, same behavior. That's just the idea we had, but we can make that.
It's okay. This is fine. I think this is fine, and this is particularly if they get really complicated. And I think here, obviously, it does need to have gutter because of the way the pluses work, and looks good.
Sure. So in general, in the plus case, it's fine to have it like that.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I'd like to see some more cases. I think you might want to go a little bit gray on the plus sign.
Sure, that can be done.
I don't know. Maybe it's better to stack it. I don't know. Even in this case. If you stack it, just forget the outer border and just have that horizontal separator. That would probably look fairly reasonable.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that would make it a little easier to see.
And then that's consistent with this case here, where you've got a box that's extruded from the protein content, so to speak, and then you've just got a horizontal separator here.
Right. Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
Okay. Now, why does your amounts here? You've got an amount, but it doesn't have the heavy separator.
I think that's just a flaw in my implementation, but I will fix that.
Okay.
I think it's just because I was packing it together real quick to show an example. So I know you'd asked to see more examples, but I didn't really have the time to do that. But I did get to look into a little more of the distribution of how these things are all set up to figure out whether we have enough room and that sort of thing. So the left-hand side's the amount, the food type, the preparation. That's this distribution, which is all more or less than 15 characters, we'll say.
How long is preparation?
Like 11, I want to say.
14, I think. 14.
I had to do the same thing just yesterday.
11, you were absolutely right. Okay. What are the outliers here? Well, you're going to deal with the outliers.
Yeah, the outliers will be replaced with and without. Those are for nutritional supplement and nutritional supplement not added. Those can be folded in with the with and without stuff, as we've discussed before. So I think the left-hand sides are fine. The right-hand sides are a little more tricky, but I think we're okay. If we do the stacked case, another reason to keep the stacking is that there are some that are significantly longer. And so here the median, as you can see, is 9, means about 10. So it's really not all that different than the left-hand sides, but some of them spill over much longer. And I think it's, from roughly looking at it, it looks like anything less than about, say, 25 characters should still nicely fit, even in the property case, where it's very wide.
I see.
And if we're worried, I guess we could also stack the words calorie content and that sort of thing.
Well, I think the emergency case is the case where it's like 35 long, and the only question is how's it going to break? And if it breaks at word boundaries, I think it'll probably be okay. It'll stack a little bit in the right-hand side there, but I don't think that's horrifying.
Okay.
Right? It's going to stack there. It's going to say with, finest, free range, whatever, free range chocolate chips or something. I don't think it will be disastrous if that wraps to a second line.
Sure. And that's just to show it in greater detail for the individual ones, which, as you can see, most of them are dramatically less than the regime where it's really potentially bad.
You should probably look at some of those manufacturers that may be goofed up. I mean, that may be all kinds of things that says, blah, blah, blah is a trademark of blah, 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 which is not... I don't know. Those super long manufacturers look suspicious to me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I was really surprised at the length on those as well.
Well, it might also be, blah, 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 or a division of blah, 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 or a division of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. Yeah. But I think the good news is about some of those is that they have a lot of word breaks in there, and then we won't have to worry so much about the
Yeah, well, I don't know whether are there single words that are super long.
I haven't gone into that detail, but that's a really good question.
Yeah, I bet there aren't. I bet it's going to be okay.
Maybe some food additives might be long, but that would be the exception.
What is trimming level?
That has to do with like fat trimming. So like 1/8 of an inch fat, less than 1/8 of an inch fat, 1/4 inch, things like that.
Well, this looks very nice. Very nice. All right. So when's it going to go live?
As soon as we can, I guess.
But I mean, is it the time frame of order? I mean, when are you going to have it on test and so on?
So we will try to get
more
to the months or so. What?
What I just said? I said a small number of weeks, and you said a month, so no difference.
Yeah, so we will try for that we have it live at the tech conference.
Okay, terrific. It's okay.
And we also print this big poster that Andrew had made for how it works with the knowledge base for the tech conference.
Oh yeah. Yeah, nice. And yeah. Well, this is looking really good. Yep. I think the problems are solved. I think we're good to go here. I just had a solicitation today for some cooking in space thing. So that's a whole nother story.
So gravity
Going to space.
Yeah, what's that?
When are you going to space?
Me? I'm not into that.
I would have not.
Not my scene. I'm gonna.
You can ride a Russian rocket too.
Yes, quite. Hopefully soon other rockets too, but we'll see. All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Great. Okay, see you all soon.
Bye.